Hi guys, I'm Malice and I'm back with another video. Today it's time for another TBR video. Today's video is going to be my Tome Topple TBR. The Tome Topple Readathon is a readathon where I try to read as many big books as you can over a 2-week period. So it's those tomes that are over 500 pages each, and then there are some different challenges you can try to fulfill. And this is round 6 of Tome Topple, so it's been going on for a while. And this is a readathon that was created by Sam from Thoughts and Tomes, and she has 4 co-hosts. The first one is Adriana from Perpetual Pages, Sarah Jane, Sian, and Katrina from The Little Book Owl. And all of the links will be down below. The 5 challenges are as follows. You read more than 1 tome. That in itself is quite a big challenge for a lot of people, also me. Then there's read a graphic novels that is over 500 pages. This could be a bind up of multiple volumes in a graphic novel series or something, if that's necessary for you, because not a lot of graphic novels are over 500 pages. And then there's read a tome that is part of a series, body reading a tome, and read an adult novel that is over 500 pages. And so you can read any book that is over 500 pages that you want. Anthologies and short story collections do not count in this one because these separate stories are not over 500 pages. So only books that are over 500 pages count for this one. Now, usually I'm not very good at the Tome Topple Readathon. For some reason, I'm not good at speed reading those tomes. I mean, I read a lot of bigger books, but for some reason, whenever there's a readathon about it, I don't read like that many pages. But maybe this time around I'm able to do. I do have quite a few books that are on my TBR, the immediate TBR from my TBR unwrappings that I want to get to. And also, the first week of the readathon, I have off from work, so I might be able to get a lot of reading in over those days, but we'll see when I get into it. I have not specifically gone after any of the challenges, but I have this stack of book to choose between. So there's 5 tomes here, and that's not accounting for the audio that I may or may not listen to. First up, I'm 100 pages into Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I'd like to finish that. It is 525 pages, so that works for this challenge. So I feel like I want to get into this. Maybe I'll listen to the audio of it, because the narrator of the audio is the same one who narrated Born, which I really enjoyed in audio form. So maybe I'll end up listening to it, and that will get me through this a little quicker. I'm also body reading Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Currently, with Becky from Beck's Books, we've decided to tackle the Vaginal Fantasy Book Club list, which is a list of books that they've read together that are from either female authors, or they have a very prominent female main character that, but mostly it's from female authors. That's a really long list, but we decided when we started this that we would finish the series that we start before we get on to the next book in the series from that list that we want to read, because otherwise we'll just have so many new series that we started at the time when we're done with the list, and we're probably just gonna go with it. I've read a lot of the books from that same list, so we had to sort of figure out where we could start. I've actually read this one, so it's a reread for me. But it was back in 2016, early 2016, that I read it. And so I have a hard time remembering what happened. And I haven't read on in the series, and I would like to actually finish that trilogy. So I decided to reread it with Becky, and we will read the whole trilogy together. Another body read that I'm starting in July, but we're starting it probably on the 29th when this starts, is Malice by Gwynne. This is the first book in a quartet, a fantasy quartet. I don't know exactly what it's about, but I've heard that it's sort of like very tropey fantasy, but it's done in a way that it's not boring or the same as everything else, because the characters are very interesting and very funny to read about. So I'm very excited to get into this, and hopefully it will be one of those faster fantasy books that I will be able to get through pretty quickly because there's not a lot of new things in it. So I'm very eager to get into this series, and I really hope that this is a series that we'll both enjoy, because then I have the last 3 books in this quartet as well. The next 2 books are books that I'm eager to get to because of its sequels, and I have wanted to read both of these for such a long time. The first one of those is Night Shadow by Sebastian de Castell. This is book 2 in the Greatcoat series. I read the first book in this series last year in July, actually, and I really enjoyed it. It was sort of a shorter fantasy for fantasies, but this is over 500 pages, and I really enjoyed the dynamics between the main character and his the other 2 Greatcoats that are part of his gang. That's called Falcio, Brasti, and Kest, and so I'm very much looking forward to reading on in this series, and hopefully maybe I'll get to it over the Tome Topple, but we'll see. And the next book I want to possibly try and get to is Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. I've actually been wanting to read this all year, but I've never gotten around to it. Then there was the BookTube Essay Awards. It took all of my attention, but now that's over, so I don't have that as a reason for not picking it up. But I haven't been in a fantasy mood all of June, so I've been reading more like urban fantasy stuff and romancy stuff and stuff that doesn't have anything to do with fantasy. So and sort of faster paced things that I could finish quickly. But this one, I've been wanting to find out what happens to these characters in this final book. I mean, there's a spin-off of the Mistborn era, and that's just like, I don't know how many years into the future. So it doesn't follow the same characters, but oh yeah, I'm a little nervous about what's gonna happen to all of the characters, because I've heard people talking about how the last one really got to them emotionally, but we'll see how that ends up going. Also, I've just been in the mood for Mistborn and Cosmere stuff in general, because I recently did a Cosmere book tag talking about the different series in this world, and so that got me a little bit excited about this book again. And so we'll see if I manage to pick it up. Otherwise, I do have a good selection of books to choose between. So this is my TBR stack for the Tome Topple round 6, beginning on June 29th, and that is on Friday. And as far as the challenges go, there's definitely one that's part of a series. I mean, all of the books are part of a series. There's definitely one that's an adult fantasy, and then there's a YA fantasy as well. I don't have any graphic novel thingies, so I can't really do that. Hopefully I'll be able to finish 2 books, and I've completed that challenge as well. But let me know in the comments down below if you're planning on participating in the Tome Topple this round, and which books you have planned to read. Have you read any of the books that I'm planning on reading? There's also the one that body reading a book, but I'm body reading 2 books. So I definitely will probably maybe get that. This is all I had for you today. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very, very soon.